Friends, a new era in military aviation is on the horizon. China has officially announced the first flight of its sixth-generation fighter, and it really changes the game. This aircraft is not just a new toy for the military, it's a challenge to the whole world, especially the U.S. If such developments were once the prerogative of the states, now China is right on their heels. And this isn't just a race for technology, it's a battle for air supremacy, where every country wants to be number one. Imagine, the aircraft, which is virtually invisible to radar, can independently analyze the combat situation and make decisions in real time. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's already reality. And yes, with this rate of development, China has every chance to rewrite the rules of air combat. Now imagine the reaction of other countries. After all, every new fighter of this caliber is not just about defense. It's a show of strength that can't be ignored. The United States, for example, has already begun to declare that it is ready to strengthen its position. But how realistic is that? Today, we're not just looking at technology. We're witnessing a new chapter in world history, and China clearly wants to be its author. To understand how China got to the sixth-generation fighter, we need to go back a bit. In the 90s, their aviation was far from being in the leading roles. The level of technology lagged significantly behind the US and Russia. But then the J-10 appeared, the first fourth-generation fighter. It was a breakthrough. A few years later, the J-20 was released. It's already the fifth generation, and China started competing with the world leaders. The J-20 has become a symbol of technological advancement. It has absorbed the best of world engineering, but China has added its own developments, for example, improved stealth technology. If previously the country only copied other people's decisions, now it creates its own. And now, the sixth generation is already on the horizon. It's not just a new plane, it's a concept where the fighter becomes part of a whole system. China is no longer playing catch-up, it is experimenting and looking for new ways. All this shows how, in 2 decades, the country was able to transform from a follower into a leader. Their speed of development is impressive. In 20 years, they've covered a distance that took other countries several decades. Sixth-generation technologies. So, what makes the new Chinese sixth-generation fighter so special? First of all, it's stealth. If the J-20 was almost invisible to radar, the new aircraft will be completely hidden from enemy eyes. It's considered to be one of the most invisible planes ever created. Secondly, artificial intelligence is a huge step forward. The new fighter can independently analyze the situation. For example, it can identify threats, select targets, and even make decisions without pilot involvement. All of this reduces reaction time in combat and increases effectiveness. Besides that, there are rumors about a 3-engine configuration. What's the point of this? First of all, it provides more power, allowing for supersonic speeds and better maneuverability. Secondly, it makes the plane more agile in tough conditions. And finally, a new level of electronics. The fighter can interact with drones, ground systems, and satellites. This is not just an airplane. This is the control center that monitors the entire air situation. You could say this isn't just a step forward, but a quantum leap in military aviation. Project Nanman. The secret Nanman project is the key to China's air strategy. Its goal is to create a fully integrated ecosystem for conducting combat operations. Imagine a fighter that doesn't operate alone, but works alongside drones, satellites, and ground systems. This completely changes the approach to air combat. The new fighter will be able to coordinate the actions of dozens of drones that can conduct reconnaissance, attack, or even distract the enemy's attention. It's like a game of chess, where every move is planned in advance. In addition, the Nanman project involves the use of the most advanced technologies, such as artificial intelligence and quantum communication systems. But what does this give China? First and foremost, it's a strategic advantage. Such a system allows for quicker responses to threats and minimizes risks. Secondly, it's a show of strength. China is showing that it's not just catching up to the US, but it can also offer completely new approaches to warfare. The unveiling of 2 new stealth fighters in China. Last week, an event happened in China that blew up social media. The country unveiled 2 new stealth fighters at once. And it wasn't an official presentation. Both aircraft were spotted conducting test flights over densely populated areas, sparking a flurry of speculation. But here's what's interesting. Experts are still arguing whether these tests were random, or if this is part of a large-scale information campaign by China. After all, in our time, when everyone who has a smartphone becomes an eyewitness to such events, hiding something is becoming almost impossible. One of the planes, as analysts claim, is a modified J-20 with additional upgrades like an advanced radar and more powerful engines. The second one is a completely new aircraft, the development of which is kept under strict secrecy. This fighter looks like the result of further evolution. Stealth technologies. All these maneuvers make it clear that China is not just experimenting, but is actively promoting its developments. And if such aircraft are already visible on test flights, then one can only guess. What else is hidden in the closed hangars? The history of the FC-31 program. To understand how China arrived at its new fighter jet, it's worth looking at their previous projects, like the FC-31 and J-35. The first flight of the FC-31 took place back in 2012. And at that time, it became a real sensation. It was the first Chinese fighter jet that truly competed with its Western counterparts. However, the project faced difficulties. The FC-31 remained in the prototype stage for a long time, and only recently have rumors emerged about its possible entry into service. However, some believe that it serves more as a test platform for rolling out new technologies. The J-35 is an evolution of the FC-31 concept, but with a focus on adaptation for aircraft carriers. This means that China wants to create a powerful aircraft carrier group that can project power anywhere in the world. Interestingly, both of these projects could become the basis for the development of new fighters. China is actively experimenting, and each new aircraft is a step towards creating the ideal machine for air combat. In essence, the FC-31 and J-35 are a bridge between the past and the future of Chinese aviation. But that's not all. China is actively testing stealth drones that could change the way air operations are conducted. One of these drones was spotted recently. Its shape and size clearly suggest that it's not just a reconnaissance vehicle, but a full-fledged weapon for future battles. This drone, as they say, will be able to accompany sixth-generation fighters in battle, acting as a wingman. It will analyze the situation, attract the attention of radars, and even strike targets. Such a strategy makes combat operations more flexible and effective. It is interesting that the drone is made in the TLS design, which means that the device does not have the usual tail unit. This enhances its radar stealth and also improves its aerodynamic characteristics. Basically, this is another step into the future where drones play a key role. But why is this important? Drones of this type help save resources and reduce risks for pilots. Plus, they're easier to produce in large quantities. China seems to be betting on mass automation in military aviation, which gives the country a clear advantage in future conflicts. Now let's compare Chinese and American aviation technologies. At first glance, it might seem like the US is far ahead. After all, their sixth-generation fighter program started back in 2014. And they already have several prototypes. But here's the thing. China is developing faster. If the US is betting on quality and long-term reliability, then China is ready to experiment and implement new technologies. Right now, for example, Chinese engineers are actively working on integrating artificial intelligence, while the Americans are focused on stealth and supersonic speed. In addition, China is actively developing drones that will be able to work in tandem with fighters. In this area, the country is clearly outpacing the U.S. On the other hand, the Americans have vast experience and resources. Their aircraft, such as the F-22 and F-35, have already proven their effectiveness. Chinese fighters have yet to be tested in real combat. Yet, despite all the differences, both countries are moving towards the same goal of creating air superiority. And it's too early to say who will come out on top. But one thing is clear, this competition will be decisive for the future of global aviation. The White Emperor. The Chinese sixth-generation fighter project, known as the White Emperor, has already become a legend in the aviation industry. Although many details of this project are kept secret, there is information that makes you think about the scale of China's ambitions. The White Emperor is not just a fighter. It's a machine capable of flying at supersonic speeds and even going beyond the atmosphere. Imagine a plane that can ascend to near-Earth orbit to carry out reconnaissance or combat missions. This is no longer science fiction, but a real prospect. One of the key features of this machine will be a fully integrated artificial intelligence. This AI will not only be able to analyze the situation on the battlefield, but also predict the enemy's actions, to adapt to rapidly changing conditions and make decisions without pilot involvement. And one more important point. the White Emperor will be equipped with the most advanced weaponry, including hypersonic missiles. This is a weapon that's hard to detect and even harder to intercept. China is clearly betting on becoming a leader in military technology, and the White Emperor could be the key to that leadership. This is a challenge to the whole world, showcasing not only China's ambitions but also raising the bar for other countries. Unmanned cargo plane. In addition to combat fighters, China is making significant strides in developing unmanned cargo planes. One of these projects recently passed a successful test. It was developed by Sichuan Tianjin Technology, and it's designed to deliver cargo to hard-to-reach areas. This drone looks like a mix between a drone and a regular cargo plane. Its main feature is the ability to carry up to 20 tons of cargo over a distance of more than 1,000 kilometers. This allows it to be used in areas where there is no developed infrastructure or where conducting humanitarian operations requires quick and efficient delivery. But there's also a military aspect. Such a drone can be used to supply troops in hard-to-reach areas, deliver equipment, or even transport weapons. This makes it a versatile tool that can be used in both peacetime and wartime. In addition, the cargo plane is equipped with an advanced navigation system that allows it to fly around turbulence zones and avoid collisions with other objects. This makes it even more reliable. This project shows that China is looking not just at the battlefield, but also at logistics, which is a crucial part of any modern military campaign. As we wrap up our conversation about Chinese fighters, let's think about something. How might these technologies impact the future? After all, the emergence of the sixth generation of combat aircraft is not just a new round of aviation development. It's an opportunity for countries to shift the balance of power on the global stage. The technological data that China is gathering and developing is becoming a tool for global influence. Stealth technology, AI, hypersonic weapons, drones. All of this is changing the rules of the game. But with these new capabilities come new threats. For example, autonomous systems like combat drones can be used not just on the battlefield, but also for spying or cyber attacks. In a world where technology is advancing so quickly, it's important to understand how to protect ourselves from its misuse. China is making huge strides forward, but it raises questions about how other countries will respond to such an arms race. After all, every new development requires a response. And here, it's not just about catching up, but also about finding new ways to evolve. China is changing the game. So, let's summarize. China isn't just developing new fighters. It's changing the game in global aviation. All of this puts China in the spotlight. Comparing them to the US and other countries, we see that China is not just catching up, but also offering its unique solutions. This is no longer just about copying technologies, but rethinking and adapting them to their own needs. What happens next? Can China become a leader in this field? And how will this affect the global balance of power? We don't know the answers to these questions yet. But one thing is for sure, we're living in an era where technology is changing everything, including aviation. Thanks for watching this video. Write in the comments what you think about the future of aviation and who, in your opinion, will be the leader in this race. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new episodes. See you later.